Hello, everyone. Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I trust we are all doing okay. My name is Toluwashe Adeshino. I work with Stanbic IBTC, and I'm honored to be your host for today on this very important conversation around insurance brokerage. But before we get right into it, I'd like us all to let us know our location. I mean, it's the digital age, right? And I'm sure that a lot of us on this call are joining from different places. I am joining from Abuja, Nigeria. Please let us know where you're joining from. If you're joining from Lagos, if you're joining from Ekiti, if you're joining from Kano, Akwa Ibom, it would be nice to know where you're joining from to get all the information you need about insurance and insurance brokerage on the call this morning. Please let's see where you are coming, where you're joining from. And the weather is fair here. It's not rainy and the sun is not too hot. It's just perfect. It's a very calm day. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for joining. We are happy to have you. It's a milestone webinar for us, and we are here discussing a very important conversation, something that we hardly talk about because, again, a lot of people either do not know about the importance of insurance or insurance brokerage, or they just consider it a bit too expensive for them to get involved in. But on this call today, on this webinar today, I can assure you that we'll be talking about the importance of insurance brokerage and how it matters to you as an individual and how it matters to you as a business owner. So to draw the curtains on today's activities, I'd like to invite Temitope Pokuola. Temitope Pokuola is the Executive Director, Stanbic IBTC Insurance Brokers, to give us a warm welcome before we dive into the conversation for today. Hi, Temitope, good morning.
Good morning, Tolu. Hope you're doing great. Yeah, good
I'm doing well, thank
morning,
you.
everyone. My distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to this session. It's a cool Wednesday morning, and I hope you're having a good time. Please, I want you to put in your very best attention into this session as we move on. It's a pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar, Smart Insurance for Savvy Businesses, Marine and Good in Transit Insurance. In today's unpredictable world, businesses face risks that can arise without warning. Unfortunately, insurance penetration in Nigeria remains under 1%, far below what is needed to safeguard businesses and drive economic stability. At Stanbic IBTC Insurance Broker, we consider it our responsibility to bridge this gap by making insurance solution more accessible and fostering a strong culture of risk management. To deliver on this mandate, we continue to innovate and improve customer experience. Recently, we launched a mobile app that enables clients to conveniently purchase and monitor insurance policy. More importantly, we remain committed to prompt and fair claim settlement. Just last month, for example, we successfully paid a $1.2 million claim to one client and also extended an offer of over 1.3 billion naira to another client. This is a clear evidence of our reliability and capability to deliver when it matters the most. Today's session, we shed the light on marine and goods in transit insurance, vital solutions for any business involved in the movement of goods. I encourage you to actively engage, ask questions. The chat room is available. Feel free to drop in your comments, questions in the chat box, and connect with us through the channels that we have provided. With that, I am delighted to officially declare this session open. Thank you very much and have a good time as you listen to this webinar. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Temitope, for that warm welcome. I believe we are all excited. I personally am happy to be here. I'm looking forward to learning a lot as it pertains to the subject of insurance and insurance brokerage. Thank you so much very much. So we'll get into the conversation for today. We want to keep it quick and snappy, and we want to learn as much as we can. So we have a very robust panel this morning. We have experts who have been in the insurance and insurance brokerage business for decades. And we also have joining us on the panel someone who has experienced the benefit of insurance brokerage in their business and as an individual. So if you are wondering why is this conversation important for me, I'm just a small business owner. I don't need insurance, but you're sending goods, you're sending orders from your house to your clients. A lot can happen between the time your goods are leaving your apartment to your customer. So we'll be diving into all of that conversation on this call this morning. And I would like to invite my very first panelist, Adeboye Oshoba. Adeboye is the team lead business development manager at Stanbic IBTC Insurance Brokers. Hi, Adeboye, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Toluwase.
Good
Good
morning.
morning, audience. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us this morning. We're glad to have you here. All right. Up next, I'd like to invite Abiodun Salami, Head Claims at Stanbic IBTC Insurance Brokers. Hi, Abiodun. Good morning.
Hi, Solu. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, distinguished listeners. Good
Good
morning. Thank
morning.
you.
Thank you so much for joining us on today's webinar. All right, last but not the least, I'd like to invite a very distinguished client. He's been enjoying the benefits of having an insurance policy through the Stanbic IBTC insurance brokerage business. And I'd like to invite Austin Zelma Omoike. Austin is the administrative manager at Boulders Plus Nigeria Limited, and he'll be joining us on this webinar this morning to tell us live and direct what him as an individual and his business has benefited from having the right insurance cover for their business. Hi, Austin. Good morning.
Morning, everyone. Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We're glad to have you here, and we look forward to learning from you and hearing all the benefits that insurance brokerage has offered your business over the past couple of years that you've taken up an insurance policy. All right, so we'll get into the conversation for today, and I'd like to direct my first question to Oshoba Adeboye. So, like we have rightly said, the theme for today's webinar is smart insurance, savvy businesses, marine and goods in transit explained. I'm sure that if you are familiar with the Nigerian business terrain, you know that we do a lot of importation. Oh, we're bringing this from China, we're bringing this from America. I have a container on the waterway. I'm into a logistic business. I'm sending something from Ikorodu to Yanopaja. That is everything that is involved in the process of goods in transit. It means moving goods from one place to the other. So whether you are a small business owner or you own a conglomerate, this conversation is very important to you. So Adeboye, can you walk us through marine and goods in transit insurance solution? What does it mean? And is marine insurance, is it different from goods in transit? And if they are different, what are the primary differences?
All right. Thank you very much, Toluwase. Yes, marine insurance and goods in transit. The both policies provide protection for your goods while they are being transported or while on transit. But there are one or two differences between the two. Let me speak to the marine insurance policy first. Marine is an international business in such a way that when it involves you bringing goods from outside the country into the country, or you are taking your goods from your local country to an external other international destinations, it requires that you put marine policy in place. And what does it cover? It covers you from or protects your goods from every forms of perils of the sea. There are so many things that can happen while the ship is being conveyed, via the sea. There are so many perils that can happen. So when you have a marine insurance policy in place, it protects your goods from all the damages or perils the sea can experience within that period of voyage. All right. It also protects your goods from piracy because there are a lot of piracy that happens around around the sea. It protects you there. It also protects you from natural disasters. When you have your goods in the ship being moved and disaster happened and you lose a particular amount of money, insurance company will reimburse you for losing that as a result of natural disaster. So generally, what marine does is it protects your goods while it's being conveyed from an international destination to a local to your local destination. That is marine insurance in summary. Then coming to goods in transit. Goods in transit is more domesticated. It's local. Marine insurance is basically via the sea or air. But when you talk of goods in transit, it's by road or by rail. When you are moving goods, say for example from Lagos, and you are moving your loads to Kano, right? So while those goods are on the road, the protection it requires is what the goods in transit protect does for you. For example, maybe theft. For example, diversion. Fire incidents may happen to the truck and affect the goods as well. All right. Even while they are loading the goods from the warehouse and offloading it from the other warehouse, okay, anything can happen to it. It may damage. So all those damages as a result of the accident, fire, loading and offloading, or diversion, or anything, or theft, those are what the goods in transit basically cover. And the goods in transit, of course, is much available everywhere. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Adeboye, for that precise but detailed differentiation between goods in transit insurance and marine insurance. And I'm sure that everyone on this call has been a beneficiary of moving goods across water or moving it even on roads using regular dispatch and delivery systems. Okay, I mean, you've explained in details what marine insurance is and what goods in transit insurance with. I'd then like to ask Abiodun, what is the real difference between having a basic coverage and a comprehensive protection, either for marine insurance or for even goods in transit insurance? What is the difference between the basic and the comprehensive coverage?
All right, thank you very much, Tolu, for that question, and Boye, thank you for the responses. So, to look at the differences between the basic cover and the comprehensive cover for both marine and goods in transit, I want to quickly start with the marine policy. So, when we talk about the marine, basically, like we have mentioned, is about you moving your goods, and there are different levels of covers that you can have under the marine cargo policies. So under the marine cargo policy, the policy is actually a general, I mean, an international business and is worked under the Institute cargo clauses. When I say Institute cargo clauses, I mean covers that are being provided on the policy. So we have three covers under the marine policies. The very basic one is the Institute Cargo Clause C. The Institute Cargo Clause C covers you for some basic perils. I mean, some perils of the sea, such as you can have the general average of fire and explosion to the goods or to the ship causing loss to the goods. You have collision, you mean the ship colliding with another ship or with another object. Then you have your goods being damaged. Then you have collapse when the ship collapses or when the ship sinks into the sea. You have your goods being lost in that process. They're all covered under the Institute Cargo Clause C. So a step further is another coverage, which is a bit wider than the ICCC, which is Institute Cargo Clause B. The Institute Cargo Clause B covers everything that Institute Cargo Clause C covers, in addition to some other covers some additional covers. And those covers you can have under Institute Cargo Clause B is washing overboard. So when you have your goods being washed off because of a big storm on the sea, some of the containers fell inside due to these storms, they are covered under the ICCB. Another cover you can have is while you're trying to load and unload your goods into the ship, you can have some damage. So those damages are also covered under the ICCB. Then the last one that is covered, that is an additional cover you can have under the ICCB, is what we know as earthquake. This earthquake, volcanic eruption, lightnings They are also covers under the ICCB. Now, the very last one under the marine cover is the ICCA, which is known as the all risk. All risk means that all risk in quotes, meaning that it covers everything, every type of loss, just for you to prove that you have your goods being lost. However, there are some exceptions. This exception would be named in your policy. You have it in your policy. Your underwriter or your insurer will let you know that these are the things we don't cover. We are not covering you against. And not the very first one that is always under the exclusion is the war risk. So when you have a war that is happening in a particular region, most underwriters don't want to cover it. However, when you come through brokers, we can also discuss with the insurer to include this all risk. Another thing that is not covered under the all risk, that is ICCC, is your wear and tear. So you're bringing your goods, for goods sometimes it takes some months on the sea. So you have wear and tear on those your goods. Those wear and tears are not covered under the is an exclusion under the all risk policy. We have gradual degradation of your goods also, they are not covered. So these are the exclusions. The exclusions will always be named in any policies. So these are the three covers we have under the marine cover. We have the ICC Plus A, which is the most comprehensive cover. Then you have the Plus B, which is it's less broader in its scope. Then you have the most basic cover, which is the ICCC. Then let's go to the goods in transit. For the goods in transit, we have just two covers. Like Boye have said it, you are just moving things from within the country. So a lot of people can take that. I run a business, I have a finished good, I want to transport from within Lagos or from Lagos to Abuja. You want to transport any, so you have just two basic cover for it. You have the all risk cover, like we have on the marine, where it covers almost everything and bounded by exclusion. And we have what we call the restricted cover. So when we talk about restricted cover, there is just one single condition. There must be a loss to the conveying vehicle. There must be an accident to the conveying vehicle before you can have any risk that will be covered under the restricted cover. So you have your goods being moved, there is an accident to the vehicle, or there is a fire on the vehicle that led to the loss of your goods. Yes, under your restricted cover, it is actually covered. So on the goods in transit, two covers, one, all risk, then the second one is your restricted cover. Thank you very much, Tolu.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Abiodun, for that detailed differentiation between a basic cover and a comprehensive cover for both marine and goods in transit. I mean, we all know on this call now that comprehensive insurance covers you end to end and protects you across board, and simple insurance on the other side just covers a particular segment. Okay, before we take the conversation further with our insurance brokerage experts, I'd like to do a quick introduction with Mr. Austin. Mr. Austin is one of our clients, but I'd like him to introduce himself and his and I mean just
Thank you, Tolu. Thank you, everyone, for joining. My name is Austin Omoike, and I work with Boulders Plus Nigeria Limited, a logistics company. I work both as the admin person and also a partner to the company. And I've been into the trucking business for about 15 years now. And yes, so we are still counting, hopefully. Thank you. Hello. Am I being heard? Hello.
awesome.
Yes, Austin, we can
I
hear
got
you.
that.
Tolu.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, I got that. Thank you very much for the introduction. All right, I'll take my next question to Adeboye. Adeboye had shared with us earlier what marine insurance is and what goods in transit insurance is. And now I'm thinking, okay, now that I know the difference between these two, why do I have to go through an insurance brokerage company when I can just approach any insurance company and take up the policy I want. So what unexpected risks does marine or goods in transit insurance cover that businesses or individuals might be overlooking?
Okay, thank you very much, Tolu. Okay, so basically, the most business owners look at marine and goods in transit policy as just to cover or protect their goods against fire, against theft, all those basic risk. However, speaking to a professional, especially an insurance broker, we give you good insights into the kind of risk exposure your stock or your goods are exposed to while being moved internationally or locally. Now, let me start from the first one. For marine, people look at marine is just okay, just to protect my assets from damage, basic damage. But there are other things that may happen to the goods, that are beyond the basic breakage, maybe breakage, and within the container where it's being packed. For example, we talk about general average. I know my colleague Abedon was mentioning general average the other time. When he spoke about the all risk, when he spoke about the uh, when you spoke about the clause A, which is the most comprehensive clause, when you spoke about the clause A. Now, when we say general average, that's a particular clause that we bring into the policy in such a way that have that stock in a particular container, and that ship is already probably is heavy or is getting sunk into the deep sea. Now, the onus is on the captain of the ship to see that okay, we need to lighten this ship, so they have to jettison or drop some items into the sea, into the ocean. So they may have to just pack some of the items in the container and drop them into the sea, just to ensure that the whole ship is not sunk into the deep, is not sunk down. So when that happens, insurance company will compensate the owners of those goods to say that okay, at least you were able to salvage the situation for us. If the whole ship has sunk, we'll have paid more money. But for the people whose items were dropped into the sea, we are going to pay them. So that is different from the normal damage. All right. Now, when you have an insurance policy in place, a broker to say you need to have this type of policy included into your policy because most people don't look at that aspect. And when such happens, insurance company compensates or pay back the owner of those cargo whose item were jettisoned. That's an example of general average clause that we put in a standard clause A policy of marine insurance. Another one is war and strike clause. So, sometimes there are some nations where that are currently experiencing war at the moment. So now, when you have this clause and your professionals advise you to include it into your policy, it's easy for when a loss happens as a result of strike, riot, or civil commotion or war. All right, the insurance company compensates, the owner of those goods whose items were lost. Another one is consequential loss or delay in transit. Now, for example, the goods were supposed to arrive. For example, maybe it's coming from China to Nigeria. Was supposed to arrive in Nigeria on Monday because we already have off takers from the port that are paid down for those items. Unfortunately, the good did not arrive at the designated date. All right. Now, it may cost the owner of that business some amount of money because it was supposed to be transferred to the next buyer, but because it did not arrive, then there may be some kind of losses. Insurance company can pay for that, so we call it delay in transit. So it's a clause that we also put on your clause A marine insurance policy. So so insurance company will pay for that, and some of all these things are not damage, but there are things that when you speak to a professional, they help you package all this into your policy. So it's not a case whereby when loss now happen, you're not saying insurance company don't want to pay or they're not paying. Meanwhile, those items were not part of the policy you have bought. So that's what we do as a professional. Now, coming to goods in transit policy, for example, remember we told you that is for road risk, right? There may be load and unloading. I mentioned that earlier. There may be breakage of items while being loaded or offloaded from the truck to the warehouse. So basic, my colleague mentioned the restricted policy and all risk. The restricted may not actually have that, but in your all risk, you can have this clause included in your policy that if an item got damaged while it is being loaded into the truck, it's assumed that your GIT policy has started, even though it has not started moving on the road. But the moment it's being loaded from the warehouse to the truck and a particular item got broken, insurance company will be responsible, for payment of that. Another one is theft by employees. It's possible we've seen cases where the employee who have been assigned to follow a particular truck from one location to a customer place actually colluded with the driver or other people to, to to actually steal some items. You see that a lot in petroleum products. Even the drivers as well. We see many of them, park the vehicle somewhere and steal certain things before they get to the final destination. So all this generally may not be in the normal GIT policy, but there are clauses that when you speak to professional, they help you put everything, package everything without necessarily paying so much for that. Another one is temporary. We call it temporary storage during transit. It's possible that an item during the movement there may be one or two challenges that it requires the driver to temporarily take care of those items. All right. The cost of storage of those items, temporary storage, can also be included into your policy if it requires that the items are supposed to move from Jos to Port Harcourt, for example. But on the way, there were certain things along the southeast, and they were not able to pass there. So maybe there was traffic, and those items are not items that can just be kept in the open. They need to temporarily, keep them safe. So the cost of all these things can also be included into your goods in transit policy, and it's a clause that a professional can only be the one to advise you. So it's so beneficial speaking to a broker to ensure they arrange a comprehensive policy for you for your insurance. Thank you very much, Toluwashi. Thank you, Tolu.
Hello, we can hear you. Tolu, can you hear us?
All right, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. I can hear you. Thank you so much, Adeboye, for the details. It is the duty of the insurance brokers company or the insurance broker to ensure that the interest of the clients in signing an insurance policy is well taken care of, because for some of the things you have highlighted now, it's possible for an individual. Let's say I have a Toluwashe importing and exporting company, and I'm taking up a goods while they are coming in from China on the waterway with the marine insurance and protecting it between maybe Oshodi, which is the goods in transit, and then for me to even dispatch them from Oshodi to the different people I'm sending out to. I might just take a general, there's no problem, I'm glad. And there might be clauses that, because I'm not an expert in the subject of insurance, I might not even know and I might not look out for. So as broker to look at it with a more detailed expert eyes to say that, okay, however, these are additional clauses that we think should be included to protect your business end to end, right? Okay,
You are very
so
correct.
yes,
Yeah, thank you very
yes,
much.
thank you very much. So, and this is just for people who might be on the information. I can just approach any insurance company to get me the cover I need. I will sideline a policy broker. I will sideline an insurance broker. This is to let you know that you might know a lot, but you might not know as much as the people that this is what they do day to day. So you want to employ the services of an insurance broker or an insurance brokerage company to step in between you and your insurance company to make sure that end to end your business is protected and you are covered to ensure that no matter the kind of loss that might pop in during for the people on the call, if you're learning a lot, please feel free to individual you want SCA to give you free services, because I'm sure that after this call, if you want to approach them, you will probably have to fill one or forms to get in touch, right? But right here, you get your questions answered live. Is the ed claims at Stanbic IBTC Insurance Brokers. Claims is basically when eventually materialize. Right?
Okay, okay. Thank you very much, Tolu. As touching your question, I think it is a very, very important thing to every listener or any potential.
So you have now sent a truck from Sapele.
Okay, hello, Tolu. All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much for that question. I think I already got your question. It's about what challenges do the businesses face when filing claims directly with insurance, and how can brokers streamline this process for them. So, customers filing their claims directly with insurer would basically face two challenges. First of all, is the gathering of information. So at the time of claim, it is very important to note that there are some processes that has to be followed, and one of the major one is that you have to be able to prove to the insurer that you have a claim. You have a valid claim that they are supposed to pay for, and to do that, the customers are supposed to provide the required document. They are supposed to provide necessary documents that the insurance company can actually look at and look at to determine the extent of what that claim would be. So one of what we can do for you as a broker at Stanbic IBTC Insurance Brokers is to help you and guide you in how you are going to position your documentations. So we look at your document as you are giving it to us, we peruse with you, and you will position it to the insurance company to ensure that you are adequately compensated. And another thing that we look at is that we ensure that you get the right form of compensation. So there's another challenge of, okay, am I getting the right compensation? So we try as much as possible to ensure that you are adequately compensated in terms of value of magnitude. So you are putting a claim of 10 $1 million, I will try and ensure that you also get that same amount at the end of the claims process. So we try as much as possible to work together with you to ensure that you get the right process. Another thing we try and do for you is that even prior to the policy itself, we have in place a good underwriting team that would have looked at your business vis-a-vis the policy you want to buy to ensure that we have proactively put in the right cover. When Boy was speaking, he was mentioning some of the policies, some of the conditions, some of the clauses that are necessary to be in your policy. So we do that for you to ensure that you streamline, to ensure that you get we streamline the process for you so that it will not be so cumbersome. Because if you file these claims directly, what insurers are trying to do is to interpret the policy. It's just like policy, it's just like the courts. The insurer are just trying to interpret the policy to ensure that, okay, what is actually being paid for is what you're actually getting at the end of the day. So it is very important that you come in through a broker. Like I used to say, it is insurance business is not over-the-counter business. Just like drugs, there are some drugs that you can just walk in to the pharmacy and you just obtain it. But insurance business is not like over-the-counter. It's very good. You go through your lawyers. You go through your broker. Just the same way you're going to the courts, you're going through your lawyers to say, okay, can you speak on my behalf to the insurance company? Same thing to the insurance business. It is very nice. You speak to somebody or insurance brokers who understand the nitty-gritty of the insurance policy and will be able to interpret well to you to ensure that you bounce back well whenever you have a loss incident. So it is very important that you go through us as Stanbic IBTC insurance brokers, and we can always ensure that you get the best of services and your claims process is always very streamlined. Thank you very much, Tolu.
All right, glitch here. Trying to get that sorted. All right, so I'll direct my next question to Mr. Austin. And I don't know, can you confirm that you can hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you, Tolu.
Awesome, thank you very much. Yeah, so I'd like you to share a real life scenario of when um, you've had to make use of insurance for your.
Tolu, are you there?
So I think perhaps Tolu is having a network glitch.
Business, a situation
Okay,
where
I
your
think she's
business
back.
faces.
Okay. I think I understand the question. Tolu wants me to share an experience of how involving a broker has actually helped my business in terms of my trucking business. Okay, so like I said, I've been into the trucking industry for about 15 years now, and of course, we've had series of experiences, losses, and also experiences with other insurance company. But I'm going to go straight to the merits of having a broker and with a recent event. So we had a situation sometimes this year where we were contracted to bring in over 30,000 liters of soya oil for our clients all the way from Accra, Elisha to down to Lagos, and then an incident happened where the entire product spilled away, and I doubt if we could even save up to 3,000 liters. I can't even remember the details right now. Okay, but because I know what to do by virtue of knowledge from that I've gathered from the brokers, I quickly swift into actions in presenting all the necessary information, documents, pictures, and everything that were necessary, and within a very limited period of time, we were compensated for that loss. Okay, it ran into tens of millions, but we were compensated for that loss. And I had my peace. Of course, I had my peace all through that period because, of course, I could rely on, the brokers that I have working with. So yes, so that's been one amongst the many that we have experienced as a logistics company in recent times. Thank you.
Experience. I'm sure that business owners on this call, some of them can relate, and as they are sharing your story, they can just either relate from a positive angle to say, yes, I wish I had an average business owner on this call. I'm sure they can relate either positive angle of I wish or from the angle of I wish. And thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. Okay, so my next question would then be back at my expert on the call, Adeboye. What from your years of experience and from your years of dealing insurance brokerage, how can businesses avoid under insuring to save money or overpaying for unnecessary coverage in marine or goods in transit insurance?
Yeah, thank you very much, Tolu Ashe. Thank you very much. So the question is, how can businesses avoid underinsurance or save money, or overpaying unnecessary coverage for marine insurance? Basically, is to say number one is to say you need to have a broker. You need to have a professional who will advise you. A professional will help you to ensure that number one, you do not just pay for things you don't necessarily need. A professional will also ensure that you pay for what you will need. You don't the risk that is very important for you, you don't leave them out, uncovered. You actually have them properly covered so that when any loss happen, you are being compensated for that particular law, that you are not just doing insurance for and you will not get benefits. You will do insurance that in case the insured policy or the insured risk crystallizes, insurance company comes around to actually pay, to pay back or help you get back to the position you were before that loss happened. Now, speaking to under insurance, what do you even say under insurance? A lot of people don't want to pay, so much money because they feel, this amount you've given me to pay is so much, or the value of these goods I'm moving is just about $1 million. All right. And you're asking me to pay this amount of money. I think it's too much. It's a bit too much for me to pay. What I would just do is instead of the $1 million, reduce it to $500,000 for me. All right. And the goods that ordinarily worth 1 million, you have now insured it to 500,000. What that means is you have just ceded 500,000 naira risk to the insurance company, and you have said you want to take over the risk of $500,000. So if a loss now happen, insurance company will not pay you. So let's assume a loss happen and you expected the insurance company will give you $500,000 you have actually ceded to them. No, they will look at the total value of that risk and they will apply what we call average, which means that 50% of what is lost, because what you have only insured with us is is 50%. So if a loss happen, definitely we are also going to share that loss because we have shared the risk already at the beginning of the policy. So if a loss happen, we're also going to share the loss. So if the value of that item worth $1 million, $1 million, and you have only ceded $500,000 to us to insure, and a loss of $200,000 happen, you don't expect insurance company to pay you the $200,000. So they only pay $100,000, and you too, you pay $100,000. So you can see that under insurance comes with a lot of risk in such a way that you are only going to be insurance company only going to pay the proportion of the risk they have insured, and you that you are insuring the other part for yourself. You're also paying the other part. So this is a simplest way of explaining what an under insurance means, because we are not insuring all. Now, coming to over insurance, it's possible that a value of an item is just cost $100,000, and you say you want to do it for $500,000. Ordinarily, that is not acceptable in insurance because you're supposed to declare the exact value. Yeah, and in the first instance, you may see it that you want to defraud the insurance company, which, in the principle of insurance is not allowed. You are not expected to insure more than the value, the current market value of that item. So, as a professional, they will help you to ensure that you are not just doing what is not expected, or if should the insurance company discover that you have done over insurance, there are clauses that may inhibit you from receiving claims from insurance company, or even if that loss happen, you may not be fully paid. They will pay you based on the current market value, so which means there is a loss that has happened in that regard. That is as far as over insurance is concerned. Now, coming to marine and goods in transit, the way it's calculated, we ensure as a professional, we help you in different ways to help you put the value of the item you are insuring to ensure that you are actually covered. There is something we call estimated maximum loss, and so we calculate it. Okay, the item that you're having, what is the same maximum loss that may happen within the period of the coverage you have had? Okay, based on the historical background, what in the past, what has happened in the past, and what are the losses you have experienced in the past. So coming to this one now, we are able to help you to get the exact value of the item that should be placed on insurance, so that you are not doing over insurance and you are not also under insuring your assets. So I think it's very important that you speak to a professional as a broker, to always help you arrange all these things so that you're not just paying for what you don't need. Thank you very much, Toluwashi. Thank you very much, Toluwashi.
So thank you, Boy. I think we can hear you. Perhaps, I think Toluwashi's network is still having issue. Tolu, can you hear me?
Okay, maybe while it's coming up, I can provide some other context to what I've just explained, apart from the under insurance cover that happened. Sometimes you still see people that they still do what we call double insurance. It's also possible for people to do double insurance on your policy. And we look at it that doing double insurance policy in one way or the other, you may not be able to get compensated. If you think that if you do a double insurance, you will get payment or you get paid from two different insurance companies. No, you may not get paid from two insurance companies. As a matter of fact, the insurance company will come together to do what we call contribution. They will contribute money. They will look at the percentage you have done with this one and percentage you've done with this one, and they will contribute money to pay you the exact amount of money for the loss that has happened. These are all the things that insurance companies help you do to ensure that you are not just paying for what you don't need. Thank you very much. Toluash, I don't know if you are back online. Thank you.
Yes, I'm
Thank
back
you,
at
Boy.
the
I
way.
think Toluwashi, I think is Toluwashi back? Fine.
Yes, I'm back and I can.
Thank you.
Okay, Abiodun, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go on, please.
Awesome, awesome. So, in your years of practice, what happens when an insurance company rejects a claim unfairly, and how can having a broker ease this process?
Okay, thank you very much, Tolu. Um, on your question, if insurance company rejects a claim unfairly, wow, rejecting claim. So the thing is, insurance company would not just reject a claim. They will have their basis for rejecting claims. So majorly, it is two things that make insurance company to reject the claim. If they feel that the approximate cost, I mean, what has actually led to the loss is part of an excluded peril, or they feel they are not comfortable with perhaps the moral hazard of the insurance of the customer, or the insured here. So in terms of the proximate cost, yes. So at Stanbic IBTC Insurance Broker, we are always proactive enough to be very sure that our customers' policies are tailored towards their peculiarity. So if we understand your business, even at the beginning, before you even have a claim, we already have conditions, clauses on your policy that would assist us when it comes to claim. So at Stanbic Insurance Broker, you are most likely not to have a claim to be rejected. Even if at all you have a loss that insurance company would reject, even from the beginning, you as a customer would have understood that this loss is something perhaps you have not factored in, or you had not envisaged that happen. But as Stanbic IBTC Insurance Brokers, we are always very proactive enough to look at your business. We discuss with you day in, day out to see whether this voyage you're going to carry requires this peculiarity, because every voyage requires, I mean, every movement, every goods you are carrying requires have their own peculiarity. So you're carrying perishables, we know clauses that are supposed to be in your policy. If you are carrying breakables, we know policies that we're supposed to put in your policies. If you are carrying things like timbers, we know the kind of policy we are going to advise you to take. So we already envisage, and we are not going to, we don't envisage an insurance company to reject your claim unfairly. So if at all that won't happen, there are a lot of professional bodies that we can always engage to ensure that your claims are always settled, in as much as it is a valid and a genuine claim. We'll always ensure that all your claims are always uh, settled to the maximum. When I say to the maximum, you are putting a claim of $1 million, would ensure that at the end of the day, you also get the same amount as your claim. So that is it at Stanbic Insurance Broker. We always ensure your claims are not rejected, and when they are rejected, we have existing good relationship with insurance brokers that we deal with. In fact, almost all insurance companies in the country, and we can leverage on our relationship to ensure that your claims are all settled. Thank you very much, Tolu.
Thank you so much, Abiodun. Thank you so much. That deals for customers. They also ensure that when it far we do not have any word from Adeboye. If there's one word.
Hello, boy.
Okay, thank you very much. I was trying to unmute my mic. Thank you very much, Tolu. Yes. Yeah. One last word from me. It's very important to have an insurance policy. In short, people say that it's better to have an
You
insurance when you don't
would
need it
like to say to
than
a
to.
business owner on the call, DB?
Okay, thank you very much, Tolu. All right. People say that it's better you have an insurance policy in place when you don't need it than not to have it when you need it. For business owners, I would want to encourage that it's important you insure your business. For those that are involved in the business of logistics, it's important to have marine and insurance policy in place. And not just have it, talk to professionals, talk to an insurance broker, and we'll be able to help you arrange a more comprehensive, you know, all risk policy for you. Thank you very much, Tolu, and thank you very much to our esteemed audience online. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Adeboye. Austin, what one word will you say to your fellow owners as it pertains to the subject of insurance?
Okay, thank you very much to everyone who has joined. I will speak from experience. I would say it is a wise decision if you get your business insured, your assets and your goods as well. I understand that this part of the world, we kind of think that it is penny wise, pounds foolish, but we also pray not to come into situations where we are unable to save ourselves from financially. So I would encourage as many business people in the house and investors wise get your insurance, GIT or trucking asset, and also work with brokers that are really, really credible to help you through the process. Thank you very much for the time. I hope Tolu can hear me.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. I think perhaps Tolu's network is still having issues. So from my end, I want to pick up from where Boy stopped. When you need it, you can be rest assured that we are here at Stanbic IBTC Insurance Brokers to ensure that all your claims are all settled to the fullest. And you can be rest assured that we are there, we are your backbone, we are your cornerstone to ensure that your business is back whenever risk is something that is always there. And with us as Stanbic IBTC Insurance Brokers, you can be rest assured that we got your back. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abiodun. Thank you, Mr. Austin. Thank you, everyone, our esteemed online guest. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.